do you deal with depression at all, or have you in your life?
Yes.
How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? And what are the warning signs?
You don't believe in it. Okay, so here's the thing. Depression.
You don't believe in it.
No, I'm not joking, because depression is one of those things that ran in my family. My father taught me something. He says you can work your way out of depression.
What's up, Stripe Nation? Blake Albertson here with B&B Lawn Care. I'm here with my good buddy, Keith Kalfas from the Landscaping Employee Trap.
How are you?
Today, we're going to talk about burnout. You know, around this year, actually this year's been pretty well. Oh, is that Brian's Lawn Maintenance? Oh my gosh, world famous premiere of here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance.
Jumped out of the ether, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know he was here. It's cool. We're actually at his Lawntrepreneur Live Academy. So it's a great time to connect with people. We wanted to make a video. Let's talk about you, man. I'm always on screen. They know about my burnout. Let's talk about you. Do you deal with that every single year around the same time? Does it change?
Every single year.
Yep.
Just it's on a gradient, so it's getting less and less each year as I become more experienced and more seasoned and more of a veteran. And basically, when the check engine light comes on in your car, do you still keep the pedal to the metal? My buddy Tim Kroll was just reminding me of this earlier, and just keep the pedal to the metal. That's how you burn out and end up sick in bed with upset clients, a family who feels like they can't depend on you, and that's when you can go into depression and even apathy. And it can happen year after year, and you might feel like you can't do anything about it, like you don't have a choice, because you got to make this money like in a reactive state. And the problem itself is the reactive state. So I think that really taking time in the middle of the chaos to just press that big red stop button and be willing to let things go down the river and just crash and see that this is all a result of what you created by your choices. If you take a breath and you put some structure in and some boundaries and say, here's an example of how to avoid burnout. I'm not working in the field anymore on Saturdays, period. So therefore, I can't schedule anything on Saturdays anymore. If it doesn't work on Friday, it's got to go to next Monday. Oh, I better work on my schedule, but I can't afford to do that. Yeah. Well, then I'm going to have to raise the prices a bit.
Or what happens when Nancy calls and she says that it needs to be done on Saturday morning? You know, like that's always was my thing. Like, oh, well, we have people coming over on Saturday, but they call you Friday night. Like, if it was that big of a deal, they would have called you earlier in the week and scheduled that, right?
Yeah, you deserve what you tolerate.
What would you say signs of, like, of course we're using the analogy of a check engine light. What signs do you get mentally and physically and just in your business that say, like, all right, you know, this burnout's gonna come on, like the check engine light's on? Like, what happens in that moment for you?
It can creep up on you in different ways. And for me, it's when the inspiration goes away. When I don't wake up excited and I feel myself like a zombie just going through the days, trying to get to bed. And then I notice if I'm laying in bed and I'm supposed to be going to sleep and I'm scrolling through my phone, doing weird stuff like that, that's when I know that it's time to press the stop button and catch up on sleep. Take personal time, do something that makes me happy. Now, we have all these excuses of why we can't do that, and this is kind of like funny to say. A lot of it just boils down to money. But money, raising prices, equals fear. You might lose clients. So everything has a domino effect chain reaction that goes all the way back to like when you're like 5 years old sucking your thumb on welfare while your mom's beating you over the head with the kitchen pan because you ate all the ramen noodles. Like, yes. It's the proverbial saber-toothed tiger chomping away at your bottom line. It's like playing Tetris on level 50.
That's life, huh? Tetris.
Yeah, so how I feel is I start feeling, I have tendencies, hypochondriac is what I am. When I start feeling like sick,
dude,
and I'm like,
you're
oh my God.
speaking to another hypochondriac.
Yeah.
100%.
So what happens is I go into this thing where I get really fatigued, extremely fatigued, where nothing will fix it, and I start going, oh my God, am I developing something? And I'm like freaking out, and I don't look on Google because then you'll think you have like, you know, I'm looking at my tongue in the mirror. Like, it's crazy, bro.
You don't understand how much this is hitting like home. Like, this is literally what happens to me, and that's like the first step is like things like that. And then I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna go down this total rabbit hole. I actually got put in the hospital. Like, I went to the hospital, of course, like the emergency room. I thought I was having a heart attack. Turns out I was just having a panic attack that I created because I was getting so freaked out about all of this that we're talking about, you know?
2 weeks ago, I actually thought that I was, in all respects, what's the word? A case for a real heart attack at the age of 36. I was having chest pains. I thought I was going to have a heart attack, and I started thinking about me passing away and what would happen and how I didn't achieve my... Like, I crashed so low into my bipolar depression, crazy schizophrenia, that I literally am suffering, and my life is a complete nightmare, and I feel like a complete loser.
Dude.
And then
I didn't even know like this happened. Like,
yeah.
First off, like, seriously, call me like if that happens, and now I'm gonna do the same. 'Cause it happened to me last year. It came on this year, and I've like tried to, like I told you, and this is like getting way down the rabbit hole, right? But like those mental thoughts that come in, and we talked about this, it's basically when you react to them and you repeat them, now you're throwing it back, and it's gonna come back at you like a boomerang.
Yes.
And so what I've tried to do now for the past couple months, when those negative thoughts, I'm not good enough, like, dude, all of this, like self-doubt, low self-confidence, everything.
You actually appear very confident to me. Like, you're brilliantly confident to me. The way
See,
you
that's
talk, the way you
crazy
articulate
because
your words.
mentally every day is a challenge of, like I told you, I'm like, I almost feel like I don't even know what I'm doing some days.
Yeah.
Because I get a negative thought, I react to it in my brain, throw it back, and it comes back at me twice as hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what I've tried to do when that negative thought comes in, I just say, like, I shut it down. I'm like, well, that's not true. We know that's not me. You know, this, and this, and I never throw it back for it to come back to me. And like that seems like way over my head, like way over your head it might, but like maybe replay that if you're going through this topic. Can be burnout. You might not have, you know, hypochondria like us, right? You might not have low self-confidence, but it happens with everything. If you're just burnt out of mowing, like I'm just sick of mowing, you know, like it could be just the mindset. Okay, what's it feel like now? You don't mow at all, really, but like even on a landscape job, it doesn't matter. What do you feel like at Friday? Let's say you're mowing till dark. It gets dark at 8. What do you feel like at Friday at 7 o'clock when you've got 2 more yards left? You're done for the week and like everything's just gravy. You feel awesome. You knock that yard out like nothing. You're jamming out, dancing to music, you know, because you get that second win. You're like, we're almost done. I have everything I needed done, like off my plate. Like life is great, you know. Like I love that, you know. But then Monday morning comes, you know, they say like what, 25% of heart attacks happen between 9 and 11 o'clock on Monday mornings. It's all mental, dude. Like, you think a piece of plaque really breaks off only on Monday mornings at 9 to 11, or is it all mental? You know what I'm saying? That's a lot to think about. That's pretty crazy. So, going into your business,
you know what?
That is, it's all the same, dude.
There's
like,
I start when I get stressed. It's amazing because I start to see esoteria and symbology happens. It breaks open different parts of your consciousness, and that's why stress stretches you, right? And the more stressed out you are, the more your pockets are stretching, right? But because that's you're growing, right? I'm just playing. I feel like life is like life and business as family is a bunch of compartmentalized boxes. You ever see the movie where like the water's filling up in the chamber in the room and they're fighting to get out, and they finally get out, and then it gets through to another room? That's what I feel like. It's like there you go. Sorry. The water is filling up and I can't breathe, and as soon as I get out of this box, now I love my family, but I got to do the family thing and this, and then I'm at church, and then I got to do the paperwork thing and this, and I never get a chance to effing breathe because it's one box after another. And I think that how much pressure can you tolerate when you're spread so thin that you don't get a minute to be able to just just breathe, and if you just want to lay around watching Netflix or walk through the park or something. So scheduling times to do things like that are very important. For me, I used to hate walking my dogs because I can't make money while I'm walking my dogs. You know, like, this is what I would think. I'd freak out. I had to bring my phone with me.
Yeah.
Now I walk my dogs around the block like a ritual. I walk my dogs more than once a week. But no matter what, every single Monday I walk my dogs as soon as I get home from work, and my wife comes along too. And it's like so fun to walk the dogs. And I say, there's a squirrel, go get it. And I'm laughing, and like the sun's shining. Then every Tuesday night is date night with my wife. Every Saturday morning I wake up and do my finances. On Sundays we go to church. Sunday evenings we go out to eat with my dad or do family stuff, right? So we're putting these little systems in that create a wholesome life that can help relieve stress and anxiety.
How long have you been married?
7 years.
7 years.
Oh yeah.
You know, lawn care, landscaping, you know, it's all the same. I think of lawn care and landscaping all intermingled. We all pretty much, you know, like you'd go out and mow a lawn or I'd go do mulch, right? What do we look like?
Sorry, I keep looking at Stanley Genetic over there.
Oh, I didn't know Stan was here. Stan the man, huh?
Sorry.
Are we gonna get a...
We just have to put him on your video,
Is he
man.
gonna come on, dude? Oh my gosh, my heart hurts. What's up,
Look
bud?
who it is.
How are you? Doing good?
Hi guys.
This is Stan. You know, what's up, man? We're just talking about burnout.
Oh yeah.
Burnout, the good old topic.
So it's the cycle of burnout, right?
Yep.
I mean, like what it's so burnout is not only seasonal but it's yearly, right? I mean, because you will burn out in August, September, and October. At least this has been my experience. You get all pumped up because you've rested all winter long.
Yep.
Then you drive and you go really hard March, April, May, and then June it starts to wear on you. In July you're starting to feel it, and then about August you start to get stressed. In September you're about ready to quit. In October you're counting down to when the season's going to be over. But really, that's when you got to amp it up. It's the exact opposite. Most people are like, oh, I'm going to slow down on my bidding and estimating. I'm going to slow down on taking on new jobs. And that's why those marketers are always hungry, right? That's
so
when
true.
you amp it up.
Yeah.
That's when you overbook and you get to the point where you have so much work that you can now bring that extra work into the next season as overflow. And then you rest and just work at a normal pace the following year because you've got enough work always ahead of you that you're not chasing work, you're not stressed about chasing work, and you've also got enough fat jobs. Now this is a big deal. Fat jobs, right? What?
No, he's talking about being so incredibly proactive that you can smooth all that stuff out by not being in a reactive state all the time.
Oh yeah, you're proactive. You never are reactive. You're only
screw what I'm saying. Stan knows that.
no, Keith.
Come back
you're very
over here,
right.
my friend.
You only react to problems on a job, but you have all of your jobs booked out, so you don't have to worry. And then what happens is when you are only reacting to problems, you're able to handle those problems a hell of a lot better because you're not reacting to a loss of jobs. You're not reacting to something else. You're only reacting to the bare minimum. So it's just, I don't mean to interrupt you guys.
You're good. Hey, do you deal with depression at all, or have you in your life?
Yes.
How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? What are the warning
You don't
signs?
believe in it. Okay, so here's the thing. Depression.
You don't believe in it.
No, I'm not joking, because depression is one of those things that ran in my family. My father taught me something. He says you can work your way out of depression. So when you get depressed, most people slow down and they withdraw into themselves. And what he always says was, you actually start to concentrate and focus on making everything around you better, the world better, people better. Don't concentrate on yourself and never slow down. Always work harder. So if anytime I start to doubt myself, I look at myself and I go, all right, head trash, I call it, because remember we did this video?
Yep.
Remember the head trash coming in? You got to look at, okay, when is the head trash coming in? What am I experiencing right now? Because I've changed my own psychological state, right? And it's going to become almost cyclical. Like you can recognize the pattern of when the head trash is coming in, and then you can nip it at the bud. You can say to myself, oh crap, like for me, head trash comes in between 9 and 11 after a super long, hard day. And day after day after day, then all of a sudden I get exhausted and I'm like, and then head trash comes in. I'm like, okay, you shut off, I'm going to bed. I'll wake up with a different mind frame, a different attitude. And so you begin to recognize.
So you nip it in the bud before it pulls you down to the point of no return to now where you're getting
never
drugged
allow
along the
head
bottom.
trash in,
Does that make sense?
period. Yes. Ever. Like,
'Cause
not even for a second.
You guys have been where you're being drugged along the bottom and you feel like you don't have a choice but to be depressed for like a month straight. So you nip it in the bud up here.
You never allow it to start. You don't ever plant the seed. You never let it grow into anything. You recognize it right away, and you fight it right out of the gate, man. You never give it any fertilizer to grow whatsoever.
And it all comes from for me, it's all my thoughts. It's never from somebody externally. It's always, you're not good enough. Like self-doubt, lack of self-confidence. Like that's what I've always dealt with, and that's what I
we
still
talked about when we were in
deal with.
California, walking down the street.
Yeah.
Naysayers and head trash.
Yep.
Hey, put a link below to that video. You got to see it.
Got it. Done. I appreciate it. It's good seeing you. First off, like that's literally the first time I've seen you today. Good seeing you. I appreciate the information. Keith, I appreciate the information, and I think it helped a lot of people out, man. Cool. So I know it helped me out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.